Welcome to MicdinPod. We are your hosts, Jeremy and Val.
That's me.
We are not experts, just parents of 2 college athletes and 2 in youth sports.
On this podcast, we're bringing together athletes, parents, and coaches to talk honestly about youth sports recruiting, pressure, identity, and everything in between.
Thanks for being locked in with MicdinPod. Yeah, we're trying to bridge the gap. And the guest today, I feel, has his pulse on a lot of issues in youth sports, going up all the way up to from youth sports to NIL and everything in between. I feel like this guest is very knowledgeable and he could help answer a lot of questions.
I certainly can. Here's what I know. If I'm going to be on a podcast, I want to be on one with people who I know are so good at Christmas games played at friends' houses. Like, what was the games that we were playing? I can't remember. We were riding around on the carts on the floor. We're doing the card game on the table. You guys are so competitive. Time out. No wonder you have 2 Division I athletes. I've never seen 2 people compete so hard at such nonsense games.
We compete at nonsense games. We compete at each other. We compete at our occupation. Like I say to her, firefighting is better than the police department. Like we compete at everything. Wait, we don't even, they don't even know who we're talking to yet. So this is who we're talking to. We're talking to a baseball player. He grew up in Maine. He went on to the University of Southern Maine. He's a Southern Maine Hall of Famer. He's an All-American. He was drafted by the Astros and pitched there for 5 years. After Tommy John surgery, he tried to come back and he said, it's not the same. So let me take my brain, my knowledge, and move on to bigger things. And now he's a senior vice president of business development for SquadLocker. Tip Fairchild. Can we give a round of applause to Tip Fairchild?
You want the laugh track?
Yes.
You want the laugh track on that? I have it over here. I appreciate it. What an intro. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how big the brain was when I got done playing, but it's become a little bit better over 15 years, in the industry dealing with youth sports and apparel. I am from Maine. I'm in Rhode Island now. My wife's from down here, and we've got a couple girls, and I'm in the youth sports game just like you guys are. I absolutely love it. Like, it's the only thing that if I'm working and I'm excited about a work project, I will not miss a kid's sporting event. Yeah. And sometimes it might not even be mine. It might be, friends of ours that like, hey, they got a baseball game at 4:00. Like, I'm out of here. I'm going to go do it. Like, I do the same thing. I do the same thing, Tip. And Val says to me all the time, like, "What? That's not your kid. Why are you going to that basketball game?" And I'm like, I don't know. I say
that because our calendar is color coordinated, and there's about 30 other colors like periwinkle and name it. Like,
yeah, you're running out of colors. You're running out of colors in the calendar.
Yes, our phone looks like a bowl of like Fruit Loops or something. You know what I mean? It's like color coded and it's everywhere. It's ridiculous.
And there's multiple kids. I mean, we love to go watch other kids play, but there's kids I don't even think he knows sometimes.
I would agree. Guys, I grew up in a small town in Maine, and my parents and like all my friends' parents and everybody, they go to every sporting event still at every high school event that's going on. I've got a sister. We've been done for 25 years there, right? They'll go to every basketball game. They'll go to every baseball game. They'll go to every soccer game, whatever's going on. That's just what you do in some of those smaller towns, like in Maine growing up. Yeah. I do it down here, and I see it happening a lot in this area where like people will go. But I almost feel like embarrassed when people don't know about the game that night that the high school's playing in or the whatever, right? I'm like, wait, you're not going to that? Like, what do you mean? Like, I don't know. I'm like, I like to look at the newspaper or look online and be like, oh, so-and-so's playing here today at 4:30. And then I show up there and people are like, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
And I'm like,
yes.
This is what I want to do. Like, this is what I wanted to do today. Sorry. So,
Does Tracy like to go? Do the kids like to go?
They do. I mean, I pull them around a little bit. I mean, in terms of I'll pull the girls around a little. They might not want to go, but then once they're there, they love it, right? Yeah. And it's like, I'd rather have them doing that than sitting on the couch and watching Netflix or doing whatever else. Yes. I mean, as long as they get their homework done, like, we're going to go somewhere. Tracy does too. My wife's a field hockey player. She played Division I at University of Maine. So she wants to do the same thing. She's super active. She's going to either be at yoga or at the gym or want to be at an event on the turf rather than sitting at home at the house, kind of doing nothing. Like, she'd much rather be out there too. And it's helpful for her because she meets other families and other parents, and like maybe those kids start to play her sport, field hockey, instead of one that they weren't, because they see her, right? It's important to be present out there.
Yeah. So now you have 2 daughters, and they both play field hockey. Am I correct?
Correct. Yeah, we're in the world right now of play as much as you possibly can, as many sports as you possibly can, and you're not going to get a no from us. That's how we kind of wanted to raise them and chose to raise them. Do they trend and fall towards certain things more? Absolutely. But if one of them wanted to start playing, like Ellie just started lacrosse. Ellie's my young one. She's 9, turning 10. She wanted to play lacrosse. Okay, here you go. Go nuts, right? There's we're not going to say no for a little while, for sure.
Yeah. So when do you figure out how to hone in on one sport, or is this what we're going to do throughout high school and then figure out after that? What are we doing?
So we're doing the specialization conversation right now already, right?
Already,
5
let's
minutes
jump
in,
into
we're
it.
going specialization. All right,
Let's go.
This is probably one of the topics that, and I listen to a lot of shows, and you listen to a lot of former pro athletes and people who went so far past what I did with 5 years with the Astros that have the same opinion on this. And it feels like the opinion is that go do as much as you possibly can, right? For as long as you possibly can. And then eventually you figure out your path. Now, I'm watching a kid in Massachusetts right now. You and I were talking about it, Jeremy, the really good baseball player, really good basketball player. It's I think Bishop Fian. I can't remember his name, or I'd give him some props on this. Big left-handed pitcher, right? Throwing 99 miles an hour. He turns out to be 6'8", 6'9", right?
6'9".
What if he only specialized at baseball because he was throwing great, as a young kid, and all of a sudden he has this growth spurt. He's never touched a basketball, and you got this kid that's 6'8", 6'9", and doesn't know how to shoot, right? Or doesn't know how to dribble, doesn't know how to do a layup. He was the best player in the state in basketball this year too.
The best player. He led his team to a state championship. He was unreal. He was averaging 40 and 20.
So I guess my point to that is you never know what you're going to become when you're 9 years old, right? You might be a super tall kid at 9 years old and not grow another inch and focus only on basketball because you're tall when you're 9. But you never knew how to throw a ball. You never know how to throw a ball. You never know how to, run fast. You might be an amazing track athlete. You didn't know, right? So my point on this is that the specialization side just shouldn't happen. You should delay it as long as you can, rather than try to do it as early as possible. I also listened to something, and I think you guys would probably agree on this, that I did this with Ellie, my youngest, but not the oldest, Raina. She stopped. When we did what's it called, gymnastics early on with Ellie, she became so agile and bouncy, and now she doesn't do it anymore, but I think it's helped her tremendously with all the other side of sports now, with lacrosse and with field hockey and with basketball. And I think it's a cool thing to do. When kids are young, go ahead, jump in gymnastics. When you turn 8 or 9, do 10 different sports. If you're specializing at that age, wrong thing. Start specializing at 15, 16, 17, 18, as far down the line as you can get. That's my take on it.
I agree. I think that the issue probably becomes scheduling for parents, right? The schedule, and you have coaches. We have these club teams that are and we dealt with this. We pushed back on it, but we dealt with the coaches being well, they've got to be at this practice, right? They have a skills development, they have practice, and then they have all these weekend tournaments. So they're making it so hard for parents to do it, especially if you have multiple kids without specializing. But I think that with the girls' side, that's where we're seeing more injuries when it comes to ACLs, especially in female sports, because they're specializing so early.
They're not building skills and building muscles that would require them to do other things, right? Jumping, if it was basketball. If you're not playing basketball, you're not jumping a ton. Doing a lot of the other sports, right? It's important to do that stuff. The overuse injuries with this are skyrocketing. That's known information. It's because of specialization, and it's because not taking a break is what's happening a lot too.
Yeah.
You're supposed to take a break from doing this stuff, and I don't think people are doing that as much anymore. And sports really have lost their seasons, right? Everything is pretty much year round.
Yeah.
Where probably when you guys were growing up, when I was growing up, I'm thinking high school alone, and I played soccer. We didn't have football, by the way. This will get back to Cope, and I know. So if I had football, I would have played football. But I played soccer. We played soccer
You
during soccer.
didn't have football.
We didn't have it at my high school. Yeah,
Wait a
school. They have it now. They have it now in Maine. I told you, it's a small town in Maine. Like we didn't have it.
There's
they have
no
it now.
football?
Yeah, it wasn't football at the high school. There was at the.
Can we pull up something that pulls up like the year football was established and the fact that where you live? Did you live BC before Christ? Because,
I'm 97 years old. Yeah, we didn't have it, so it was soccer. And by the way, we had a lot of athletes on that team that we all would have played football. So we were actually a great soccer team because of that, because everybody, that's what we had to play.
Wow.
So I played soccer during that season, basketball during basketball season, baseball during baseball season. And when the summer hit, it was like baseball still crept into summer because that's just when baseball season is. But the boys would be over and we'd be playing hoop in the backyard. My parents had like a basketball court that they built us. So we 3-on-3. I always tell everybody the story about that is that's where I learned how to throw my first punch and take my first punch. Was on that basketball court. You know, like that's just where it happened when you were a 15-year-old kid. It was like, okay, we're playing 3-on-3 and you got kids from different towns coming in and you got and then it gets heated and you throw a ball at somebody and then eventually it's like, oh, I just ate my first punch. Yeah. You know? Yeah. So like that's where all that happened. But that was important. You don't see as much of that anymore, right? Like you really want those kids to like, hey, I just played a baseball game. Maybe it was a Legion baseball game. But then after that, we were going to go to the house and we're going to play some hoop, right? That was how sports became year round for us. It wasn't scheduled, right? Or it didn't have to be like professionalized, right? It was just, hey, throw on your shorts and like come over and let's hoop it up now, right? Like that's how it was.
I feel like that's how I grew up. You know, we played sports. We played basketball, and then we would go to play basketball on the monkey bars. Like there was monkey bars that we would just play basketball on, and that was a whole season. Up and like
dunk it through the monkey bar hoop. Like who didn't do that? Yeah, exactly.
That was a whole season.
Bars. Go find me monkey bars that kids are doing that on right now.
Yeah,
not happening.
You're not finding
because they're inside like trying to learn how to like. You know, they're inside in a scheduled environment, trying to like learn how to like break the press, which is amazing. But maybe not at 9 years old, right? We want them up there dunking on the monkey bars. Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's a societal change overall. I think that's why youth sports have become so big, and that's why there's so many kids in scheduled sports is because we don't have the same neighborhoods that we used to have, where people move into a house. You know, like back in the day, someone had 6 kids and they lived in a ranch and they stayed in that house with the 6 kids until all their kids graduated and their parents still lived in that house. Now it's like we have 3 bedrooms, we have 3 kids. Do you know kids that share a room nowadays? Like kids don't share rooms. Every kid has their own room. So people move in a neighborhood, they upgrade, they move out of a neighborhood. And so there's like a little bit less of that community to just have, street ball, you learn from other sports.
You're talking about a couple things in this because what you're saying with youth sports, along with like just home life, it's keeping up with the Joneses is what it's become.
Yes.
Right. Your kid might not even be close to being good enough to be on that team, or should even try to be on that team. They should do something totally different. But so and so does in the neighborhood, and so I see this person at school drop off, so I got to put my kid in this too, right? Like so, it's you're running into that piece too. That's keeping up, and it's. I just don't agree with it as much. And guys, you're talking to somebody. My job and what I've created my personal income from is in youth sports. It's selling apparel into youth sports, and it's selling more and more apparel into youth sports, and people buying more and more apparel into youth sports. And I don't totally agree with the direction that it's taking. With the monetization of it, even though I'm involved in it. Right? It's like I love working with a rec program that has 1,000 kids still. We don't see it as much up here in the Northeast anymore, but it still exists.
Yeah.
They're out there. North Carolina has it, Florida has it, Texas has it, plenty of states have it, where rec is still like a big thing. We just haven't seen as much up here. Like now it's like, hey, we're going to have this travel team. And by the way, if you don't make it, all those people are going to go make another travel team.
Yeah.
And
So listen, I do want to talk about that. I want to talk about
Yeah.
that. But first, people, we need to know what you do. What is SquadLocker, and how do we find SquadLocker, and what do you do for work?
Yeah, so my job, so it's a good story. I got done playing baseball after 5 years. My wife's from Rhode Island. She's from East Greenwich. So I was like, what am I gonna do? I'm laying on the couch, trying to figure it out. I could have gone back to spring training, but my elbow was like, my elbow was ready to blow up if I just like did one push up. I was like, okay, I don't know if this is gonna work.
Okay.
So at that time, I'm living on the east side. We have a moped. Okay. And like, this is how I'm getting around, like going to like get lunch, like hanging out. And I end up driving over to a company called Turfer, and Gary Goldberg's the founder of Turfer. And they were a manufacturer of like waterproof gear for sports, like a lot with lacrosse, a lot with, outdoor sports, like the travel suits that people are wearing. I walked in there and I was like, I don't know anything about this, but I love gear. I'm a gear guy. I think you're a gear guy, Jeremy. Like, you like to have nice stuff. Val, you're wearing a cool hat, right? I like stuff. And I was coming out of a sports world. So he's like, well, like, here, I'll give you enough money to keep the lights on. Why don't you come sell something for me? And 15 years later, this is what we've been doing ever since. Like, we've kind of built a big company with SquadLocker. And what SquadLocker is we built a software that people use to purchase uniforms and team gear for their youth sports, high schools, and like sometimes corporate stuff too, where people are buying something and it ships directly to their house. That's what we do, and that's why I'm so involved in the youth sports space and understanding, the national governing bodies and all the private equity money that's in inside of youth sports right now, which is good and bad, right? Mm-hmm. That piece of it is what I'm involved with every day, and talking with a rec program, right? And having our account executives tell me all about it all the time, where this is a rec program and they're in, Ohio, and they don't have a ton of money to spend on soccer, but they still have 800 kids playing, right? We've got a solution for that. And then you've got a group that, it might be in, who knows, like they're in Philadelphia and they've got 400 kids playing and they're buying $1,000 uniform kit for each kid, right? Yeah. So I'm at both total ends of the spectrum on that, and that's what SquadLocker does. But we've seen this thing shift, especially me being here 15 years. Like, I've seen this thing shift entirely to this travel club environment, even if it's not the best for the kid. Like being on a team, being on a travel select team with all the kids that didn't make the other teams is doesn't make sense to me.
When growing up, there was 2 AAU programs in Boston that were the teams. There was one that was a team full of the best 10 players in the state, and then the next 10 is the second team, right? And those were the 2 teams. And then what happened was other kids wanted to play, so their parents would start these programs, and then they would pick up the next group of kids, the next group of kids. So I feel like on the AAU circuit, it's so watered down now, because now there's 70 teams from one area, and half of these kids shouldn't be playing anymore. They should just, I don't even want to say that. I don't want to say they shouldn't be playing anymore, but not at that level. You know what I mean? What do you think about that? Play a 10-game season. Play
a 15-game season, right? And rec, like the best, there's I mentioned national governing bodies, right? And you're talking about like AAU and basketball and
Under Armour, Nike.
And I'm thinking, and they'll have the circuits, Under Armour, Nike, Puma, like circuits. And I think that stuff is great for certain level of athletes. Like, that's important. Like, you want them playing against the best competition. Totally understand that. I think it's important to do. But there's a lot of kids that are paying a lot of money to do that. That's just supporting the big team, right? Yeah. Like, so yes, you're a part of that thing, but how much time are you getting? How much is it actually good coaching? Are you just paying and you're just on a team, right?
Yeah.
Where you might be able to go to your local rec, and the high school coach has been there for 30 years, and then the guy or girl is great with the kids. And you've got a 4-week season or a 6-week season, and you might get more out of that. And it was $65.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that stuff happens all the time.
But I don't think, there's not a ton of rec programs out, like you said, like in the Northeast. You just see that. Do you think that that's going to go away? Because if we're seeing, club, and then when you pay to play, people expect that their kids, when they're paying, they
I gotta
expect their
play.
kids are going to be playing
Yeah.
more, and that's why
Yeah.
they're spending the money. And we know that like people are spending the money to do this stuff. That's the kids are. When we started a club with soccer, it was more around middle school that people were jumping in. We know kids that are playing club at 6 years old, and they're traveling up the East Coast. They're going to Jersey, you know what I mean? Elementary school to go play in Philadelphia. And I mean, it's becoming bigger and bigger. I know you mentioned, I wanted to go back to you saying about like, with SquadLocker, people can do like drop and ship. Is
Yep.
that similar what it
Yeah.
is? Like they
We ship
design it.
uniforms. Yeah, exactly. Like they'll build the kits and then it ships directly to the home. It's professionalized the uniforming experience from like what it used to be, where you used to have to go get your size and bring a check to somebody.
Yeah.
So you're seeing more, are you seeing more rec, or are you seeing more clubs that are just taking over? Because we don't see rec.
Travel. I would use the term travel a lot and club. What we still see a lot of is rec and house, like you call it, like house program or something like that. There's different terms. Still has a really strong presence when it comes to all-stars, right? Like, so like an all-star thing is still big. So you might have a 500 kid little league that has 9, 10, 11, and 12-year-old all-star teams. So there's 500 kids that played in the little league, but now there's 50 kids that are playing at the all-star level.
Okay.
So they still put together really good quality teams and program and coaching, right? But you're missing a step. Like that first thing is still crucial to be involved with. And a lot of groups, and you guys probably know this, they might require you to play rec to like be involved in anything else.
Yes.
And like that season might not feel like a lot to somebody, especially if they've been in like privatized like youth sports. They're like, well, what am I getting out of a rec practice tonight? Like one kid doesn't even know how to put his like hat on his head, right?
Yes. Yeah.
That kid might be the best kids on the team's best friend later in life.
Yeah.
That's what they're missing. Like that's just how it works. And we might be trying, we're excluding people that way, if you don't participate in that. And so like my kids, we got stuck in a little bit where if you go too far into like a sport, like it's like, oh, wait a minute, like with softball, for instance, all of a sudden you're playing like an 80-game season and you're in this super hyper-focused club sport thing, when really what they love to do is go out there on Wednesday night and just have a practice and then play a game on Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm trying to keep them involved in that as much as we can. I know a lot of parents are too. And then you have a lot of parents who are like, they don't want to do any of that and they just want to put the kid in the most expensive private team. And that's, that's their choice for sure. I just think that they can have a great experience going through the normal process too.
I just think that a lot of those systems aren't in place anymore to run it. And then I think, you can deal with the politics of parental coaching. People jump ship and think I'm going to get, a coach that has no kids on the team, is not affiliated with anyone in the town. And so that I can get more of a objective coach versus the politics that have come into youth sports when we have, parents coaching against each other or coaching together, it is an issue.
The term is out there. You guys know it. I'm probably not breaking any news, but it's called daddy ball or mommy ball, right? Like that's just a term that's out there. I don't know if it started with baseball. It feels like it's a baseball thing because it's very much like how baseball travel works, where like, hey, if your kid's not pitching, just put him on a different team and he's going to pitch. And then the dad's going to cut a coach and you call it daddy ball.
Yeah.
Or my kid shouldn't be playing shortstop, but I'm the coach, so I'm going to make him play shortstop. And like the kid who should be, I'm going to put him in left field. Right.
Yeah,
like
that's AAU. That's what happened with AAU basketball. Yeah.
Right.
The
And it's tough, it's tough to watch it. I don't know how to fix that though, guys, other than like having great volunteers and great parents that don't look at it that way. Or I think a lot of times it starts at the high school sports level. If they're involved in their sport at a lower level, it doesn't seem to have as much confusion to it. Okay. Where like if that high school, like, so for Tracy, for instance, they go to, they have like East Greenwich Youth field hockey. There's 200 kids in it. She's present there all the time. And like that rec program, that's a rec program like in East Greenwich, and it does amazing. And they have all-stars that comes out of it. Now, do some of those kids go play club too? Absolutely. But do they have all they need with rec sports in that specific thing in East Greenwich? Absolutely. I think they have 3 seasons of it. They
Wow.
have spring, they have summer, they have fall. They have and then they have a big clinic in the summer too for like, you know, like during like a school, like so during the school week, right? But in the summer, what do you call it? Sports camps. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sports camps. Yeah, like a week-long sports camp too, right? So those kids can get a ton out of it, but that's coming from a coach that was there for 40 years that built an amazing program, and then Tracy coming in being super involved in it after that, an alumni of it. That's the thing I think that we miss at the rec sports level, Val. Like where there's not as many of those people that live in the same town, go to all the high school games, know who the middle schoolers are that are coming up, know who the little kids are that we want to make sure they're playing in middle school, right? If you know that type of stuff and you're a high school coach and you know you're going to be there for a while, you want to make sure that that kid's staying at the school.
Yeah.
Now that's what we're losing too a little bit in Rhode Island. I'm sure you guys lose in Mass too, where you get kids that are become great, but they also can pick where they want to go to school. They can go to this private school. They can go to that one, right? So even at that level, it's like, you know, like the recruiting, like technically shouldn't be a thing at that for high school, and education should be the primary selection. So if you need to go to another school because you're looking for a better education, then certainly do it. But even at that level, it's almost like recruiting occurs to go to those places.
Yeah.
To
We see
this
it a
stuff,
lot.
right?
We see it a lot, especially so for Massachusetts basketball, women's basketball in particular. You take the public school kids, and if you have a girl that's really good in public school, the private schools snatch her up immediately, and you can see the level of play basically in public school in Massachusetts is dropping because all the prime Division I talent they're all leaving and going to private school. They're reclassing.
And here's my thought on that too, right? It's who gave that kid the tour at the school? Was it the English teacher and the admissions person and the school counselor, or was it the basketball coach? My guess it was probably the basketball coach.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is where I look at it as like kind of recruiting, right?
Yeah.
And if the kid's a public school kid and go into a private school, I understand that can happen. Private to private, probably a no-no, right? Like, being like, hey, I'm not going to play in time. I'm going to switch over. You should probably have to sit a year, different stuff like that. But I look at it as, are you going there because you want a better education and you're not getting it at your public school? Or are you going there because, the basketball coach thinks you're great and you should come over here and play basketball? Because maybe it's not a good school for you.
Yeah.
Maybe it's good for basketball. Maybe it's not a good school for you, right?
But Tip, the reality is that especially for basketball, public schools don't have those looks. So the private schools actually can invite college coaches, and they can run these like mini tournaments, and they can have the coaches come line, the court and work with, and they basically do like I don't want to say a mini camp, but a mini conference, and they do
a mini
other
camp.
private
Yeah,
schools.
it's basically a mini camp. Like it's a clinic, basically a mini clinic to showcase your skills in front of college students. And public school can't do that.
Public schools can't do that.
Yeah, they can't do it. The other thing I'm thinking though is like, what's the coach at the public school? What's their relationship potentially with colleges, right? And with, maybe local or maybe national, right? Like, is that person built up a big enough reputation to be like, I've got a really good athlete coming here and they're in 7th grade and they can come through and they live in this town and I'm going to work with them. I need to make sure that I can pick up the phone and I can call Northeastern. I can pick up the phone. I can call Boston College. I can pick up the phone. I can call University of Maine. And like, they'd actually listen to it. Now, college coaches will listen to somebody they respect on that.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so it doesn't matter if you're in public or private school as a coach for it. If those college coaches are like, this person can coach, they're going to listen to them.
Yeah.
And that's what I think we're probably missing, Val, is more really quality coaches that are at the public school level. Like, I think we used to have more of that back in the day, is what it feels like. I don't know if there's more private schools now or something, but it feels like, or maybe people just don't like to coach because parents are jerks now. That's another thing.
That's another thing we could talk about.
Totally.
We've
That's
talked
totally
about
real.
that numerous times on this podcast about these parents.
Hey guys, I love baseball. I would say like I'm a decent baseball mind for it. The last thing I want to do is go coach baseball.
Why?
Really?
Like actually coach baseball. Yeah. I don't mind working with a kid and guiding a kid as much as you want. I love helping out with that. I don't want to deal with the parents of an overall team, being like, my kid should be playing. Who says that? Like,
Yeah,
I'm the
yeah.
coach. You don't get to speak to me.
They say
You
it.
don't,
Yeah,
you don't get to speak to me about playing time,
Yeah.
right? Like, that's actually, you don't get to have that
Yes.
conversation. If it's I'm talking if it's like a public school type thing or a non super high pay for play thing, right? Like, this is my decision. Like, you don't
Yes.
get to have that conversation with me. For me, I would much rather work with, say there's 15 kids in the area that, are all on a team. I'd much rather take a kid or two that I think really want it, or I see a kid that's super talented, but that doesn't understand it on their own. Be like, hey, let me work with you a little bit. Like, that's more what I like to do for coaching than, and that's something I just do out of the, like, kindness of my heart, kind of. Like, I just want to be like, hey, like, let me help this kid learn how to pitch a little bit.
Okay.
Not even like a pay for lesson thing, just like, hey, like, let's do this thing, let's try that. But if I have to go do that at a whole team level, it's not my favorite. It's not my favorite.
Yeah.
So I think that the parents probably hurt that with a lot of people that think like me.
What kind of parent are you? Like as a
Yep.
as
I
a
like this question.
Did you already? What kind of parent?
I know.
When you're watching your kids play, what kind of parent are you? A cheer, like, let's go? Are you sitting off in the corner by yourself? Or where are you?
I think it depends on the situation and the intensity of the game. I like to be involved and in the mix. I don't like them looking to me though, because first of all, I love watching field hockey and I think I know a lot about it because my wife played and I've been involved in the sport for 20 years now and I understand it. So I'd say I'm like a good a male, being a primary female sport, right? I'm a great male mind of field hockey, I would say, right? But it's not my thing. It's my wife's thing, and there's plenty of other people that can coach my girls much better than me. But so I wouldn't expect my girls to look for me in the stands and be like, hey, what am I supposed to do here, right?
Yeah.
So, and I really like that. And in softball, I saw it a little bit. They would look to me some because they're like, this is his sport, and I'd kind of be like, I'd hide back a little bit, and I didn't want to coach at all, and that eventually helped out some. But my thing with just in general with them coaching is they have to ask. And what I mean by that is we go home and I put turf down in the basement. So our basement's all turf. So they can play field hockey and take ground balls and do lacrosse or whatever else. And they love it. Now, I gave them that opportunity. When I go home though, do I say, you guys are going downstairs, go get an hour. We're going downstairs, we're getting an hour in. That's not what I do.
Yeah.
If they ask, I can't say no. That's my rule with them. So if I ask them, hey, do you guys want to go downstairs? And they say like, no, I have some homework, and no, I'm tired. I had lacrosse practice already today, or I had whatever. They can say no. No questions asked. If they ask me and they're like, Dad, will you come down and like shoot some shots at me, or like, let's go play pass like with field hockey downstairs or whatever, and I try to say no, it's a rule. That's my rule. I have to always say yes.
Tip, man. I wish
I know you
could,
love that.
Listen, I love it. I do love it.
If I want to sit there and I'm fantasy footballing with you and I'm in the middle of a group chat and you're screaming at me and you're making fun of me and I'm making fun of you, and I got a guy I need 9 more yards to get through this thing, and I'm like, can I watch this? I might ask.
Give me
I'll be down there in 5 minutes when this is over, but I can't be like, no, I'm going to bed, right? Or no, I'm on the couch. This is Dad's time. You know what I mean? Like, guess what? That kid, all they want is for me to come down there. It might be for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Or it might be for 2 hours. I'm not saying no to that. Like, that's my rule with that. If you don't have that drive to want to do anything outside of it, right? So if you're a kid and you're like, I just had basketball practice. I want to go home. I don't want to do anything else. I don't want to eat well or hydrate, right? Play for fun. Play for fun.
Yeah.
Right? Like, play as much as you want, but play for fun. If you have that drive, then play for fun, but also know that you're creating something, for yourself. Like, you're trying to get to the next level if you have that drive. Your kids, obviously, if they're going to play in a bunch of lacrosse, going to play flag football, want to go in the backyard and probably tackle you, right? They've got the gear in them, right? It's not hard to understand when a kid has the gear.
Yeah.
And sometimes people are probably trying to push the gear into their kid. That's not how, and that's what I mean by when they ask me, I never can say no, but if I ask them, they have the ability to do it. Because sometimes I know that they need a break.
Yeah.
With field hockey, it's funny because Tracy's the field hockey person, right? I think the girls, I push them probably harder at field hockey because I like to do it, and it's fun, and I've watched their skill kind of increase so quickly. At this age, and you guys, I'm sure you've experienced it already with your daughters, and now you got the boys that are doing it. They get so much. If you watch a video from your kid when they were like 8, and then say I just did it the other day because I was looking at Ellie playing, I'm like, holy crap, like she's getting pretty good. Like, I looked at a video from the same exact time frame this year and last year, and you video your kid just messing around down the turf or whatever. They get better so fast.
Yes.
Tip, I've seen your kids on social media.
I know.
I've seen it. I've watched your kids on social media, and I was like, wow, they're really getting good.
Yeah, and when you go, it doesn't even need to be a year. It could be just the season. Like, okay, they played in the spring, and all of a sudden they pick it up again in the fall, and they're going. You're like, oh my God, like when did you learn how to do that? Things like that don't happen for us as we get older, right? Like you and I, like we're not getting exponentially better at something.
Well, I mean, speak for yourself. Speak for yourself.
I'm
always.
Oh yeah, yeah. The rate at which they get better at that age is just like shocking to me. And it's like one of the things I think I really like about being a parent that has kids that are playing sports. I remember doing the same thing when they learned how to read, though. I remember being like, this kid knows how to read? I'm like, it's wild. Like it's like a wild thing for them to do something that is for the first time when you're a parent. Like Ellie, the second one, yeah, no kidding. I hope you can read. Raina learned how to read. But like when Raina first learned how to read, I was like shocked. I was like, this is a kid that I didn't teach her how to do this. It's the same thing when they learn a skill, like on the all of a sudden they're like cradling like lacrosse. And I'm like, when did you learn how to do that? And like, when did you actually get good at it? Because I remember you trying to do this 4 days ago and the ball was flying all over the place. So they just exponentially get good at things quickly. And I think that's what's fun about having kids that are active, and I'm sure you guys, you're seeing it at a super high level, right? And now watching the boys. I mean, I've seen them do their whole thing out there.
They actually are art. They want to be artists and play the piano. The sports aren't there on their forefront.
Perfect. That's good. Do whatever they want.
Don't listen to that. Like they do that though. Like, so I'm all about like, all right, let's go work out. Let's play. Let's do this. And then Val's like, oh no, we're going to be well-rounded. You're going to read. You're going to read every night. You're going to play the piano. You're going to draw. She's the more artistic side of the family.
I think it's important to like pick up a guitar and learn how to play. Like, I mean, that's something that, am I a good guitar player? By no means at all. But like, can I pick it up and play some chords and like play a bunch of songs? Sure. Would people expect that? Probably not, right? And it's like,
can you do that right now?
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, my guitar's not here, but I could. But the point is like that I think like sometimes my outlet when I was playing like professionally, right? That's your job. Okay, so when you get home, you're actually not trying to get better at that time. I need something else to like check out of, and it was outlet. Like maybe it was play guitar for 30 minutes, right? Maybe it's go play golf, like whatever it is. Like you need to do something different, and that's where I think that with the kids playing, like that's why you can't like totally specialize on this thing at all. Like go do something entirely different this afternoon, right? They got the glow dance tonight. I hope they go crazy at the glow dance tonight.
Yeah, and I think kids don't have the many outlets outside of sports. But going back to football, let's talk flag football.
Mm-hmm. Fast growing, huge, right? It's becoming so. Where do you like with? Are you seeing anything trending across with orders as far as we're going to, like, we've been to the World Championship and the AAU, and there's just more teams in each bracket. There's more girls teams happening. Like,
it's on
do you
ESPN
see that?
now.
Something that's going to happen in high school?
If I remember right, I think it's going to be a girls' sport, like in high school in Rhode Island this upcoming year in the spring, if I remember right. I think that's
you're right on that. I think you're right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and it should be. I've watched that be we would call it like a sport vertical for us, right? At SquadLocker, be probably the fastest growing in terms of uniforming out of anything that we've done, and it happened quickly, right? Like NFL flag was probably like the biggest brand out there. But when you look at stuff like Under the Lights, Matt Leinart had a big thing. Drew Brees had one that sold. This is all stuff that's getting gobbled up also in the private equity world big time because there's tons of participation to it. The flag thing has taken over. I mean, we still do a lot of tackle. Like, we work with Pop Warner, and we'll work with lots of those big groups and associations that are still doing tackle. All those kids are playing tackle are definitely playing flag.
Oh yeah.
Like they're doing both. That's for sure. So I would say it's probably our fastest mover right now, Val, in terms of what I've seen for sports that are. Everybody said this about lacrosse 10, 12 years ago, and it is a great sport and it's quick. It didn't grab the same intensity that flag is on right now, where, yeah, sure, there's a few million kids that play, but there's still 30 million that play baseball. There's still 30 million that play 35 million, I think, that play basketball. I can't remember the exact numbers that come out annually, but huge numbers there. Flag is going to take off, and it's going to be it should be, I'm thinking, like a top like 6 or 7, quickly.
Wow.
Quickly.
We just were talking to a guest earlier. The lacrosse numbers are down. They're saying lacrosse numbers are down.
It's surprising.
And volleyball's kind of moving up now.
I will tell you guys right now, volleyball in the South, women's volleyball is gigantic. And I think it's reaching up here. It seems like it is more and more. Like, you see more high school teams that are taking some of the athletes from the sports, like taking it, and I mean that in a good way. Sometimes hopefully more kids are playing, but you might have a kid that was great at soccer that's tall girl playing volleyball now. Right? Because it's in that same season, or field hockey, right? Like, that's kind of where it's coming from. Volleyball club down south, there's groups down there that have 1,500, 1,800 girls in an area that's like a small pocket. I've been to those conferences too, and those tournaments. It is crazy. If you've never been to a big volleyball tournament, you go down to like Orange County Convention Center or Las Vegas. You walk in, you go down the escalators in the Orange County Convention Center. I think there's like 250 courts.
Oh.
And all it is, if you just don't focus, like just let your eyes kind of like defocus, you just see the ball, like 100 of balls going over the net.
Mesmerizing.
Whistle, a billion whistles going off. Like, there's people walking around there with the headsets like this that are just like, you got guys with like the chainsaw hats, like with the earmuffs on. Like, it's so loud in there. And it's the other thing that they bring to, you should get one of these, Val, actually, now I think about it. They're like these little air, it's like just some fabric, and you like scoop it through the air. And when you scoop it through the air, it makes like a little couch, and like kids just lay on them. They just lay on them at the tournaments.
I've seen those.
And I've never seen anything like that. At volleyball, there's thousands of those things all over the place. Because the kids go to the tournament at 8 in the morning. They're there till like 8 p.m. And you might play like 10 games. So like they're just like napping on those things. Like, they're all over the place.
So kind of like
that's the next thing, because she has the pod. You have the pod.
Yeah, it's like they you take it, you open it up, and you like kind of scoop it through the air like a trash bag, but it's big. It ends up being like Jeremy and I could lay on one together.
Picture that. Picture that.
Yeah.
So Val has the pod thing. Have you seen her pod? We go to all these football games and it's freezing out, and we've been doing this for.
You cover up. You cover up in the thing?
Yes, it's a whole thing. It's a whole encasement, and it's thick plastic. You put a chair in there. There's a little table. She has all her snacks. The zipper.
In there. You come sit and be cozy and be warm.
Yes.
You can talk. You pull the little window. I'll pull it down if I need to. Oh, it's. I'm not doing it. I'm working smarter, not harder. It's been. Tip, you know how many years I've been on the sideline?
And what are you at?
I'm at 19 years. And
you got a long way to go, too, though.
Yes.
A long way to go.
It'll be about 29 years if we get through high school. 29.
Look at it this way. Hopefully, the boys, maybe both of them, who knows, right? Hopefully they're playing for 25 more years. Yeah. And then they can retire you, So hopefully you got 25 more years left, right?
Yeah.
Well, if we get through high school, I will be 29 years. And I'm a sideline career professional. That's what you can call me now. I'm a sideline career professional.
Wouldn't it be nice that, you think about these questions that, like, when you die one day, right? Like, and you're wherever you're going to be. But like, if you could ask the question, you can go, how many times did that happen in my life? I wonder if you could ask, like, how many games did I actually watch my whole life? That'd be a good stat to know. That'd be a good stat.
Oh my God.
Like, how many donuts did I have my entire life? Like, how many hot dogs? I want to know what the number is. Right, but I also
I
would love
don't
to know,
want to
like,
know how many donuts I've had. I don't want to know that.
but like, I wonder what the number is for games. I bet it's huge. You should do the
Yeah.
math someday and see what happens.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look back at schedules from like 5 years old.
Let's not even
19
think
years
about
ago.
it.
That's what I mean.
Let's not even think about
That's what I
that.
mean.
Oh
It's
my
that
God.
crazy. We want to talk to you about NIL. What do you
Yes,
know?
yes.
I think you might be like a close like parental guru when it comes to the
Yep.
NIL stuff. So like hit us with it.
Yeah.
Hit us
So
with
first,
We
what is
know-
NIL? What is NIL?
Yeah, so it's name, image, likeness, and it really what it's come down to is that a person can monetize themselves, at a amateur level, like essentially in the NCAA. It's what all of us, if we watch college sports or whatever, were told was illegal for so long, right? Look at it that way, right? We made movies on it. The movie, I love the movie The Program,
Yes.
from back in the
Yeah,
day where it was
yeah.
like, remember the boosters? They were putting like $500 in like, I think his name was Alvin Mack's envelope and gave it to him. But then like they gave it to the running back and Alvin's like, you don't know what to do with that. Let me hang on to that for you. It's like that stuff is legal now, right? And there's people will call it like the Wild West for a while. There was really interesting rules and regulations to it. There wasn't any really, so like people didn't understand how this was going to happen. I mean, there was can't remember who it was, Jeremy. You might know for football. Was it BYU or somebody? They had like a car dealership that came in and just covered everybody's scholarships.
Oh,
Said
yeah.
like, hey, well, like everybody's good, everybody's covered. Like so you could do stuff like that now, and you can give people money so that they'll go to your institution, right? And now it's a kid doesn't have to rely on work study or like a tiny stipend to make it through. I remember trying to make a $20 bill stretch like a mile in college, right?
We couldn't
Now you have-
give you anything back then. If they give you
Right.
$20, you're like, hey, don't say anything. This is just to go get some food.
Well, exactly. Hopefully what it was is you saved a little bit of money for the money that you got for
The per
for your
diem.
food stuff,
Yeah,
right? Like your
yeah.
per diem stuff. So like that's like kind of what it used to be. And then when NIL came around, when everything, when the NCAA said, hey, we're going to do this, now it's a kid that's maybe not even great, doesn't even see playing time, might be making 120 grand, might be making, like money. I think we were talking about this at the basketball thing. I think that Providence, some of these basketball programs have 10, 11
Yes.
million bucks.
Yeah.
And some of that money,
How?
donors, boosters, alumni, right? I mean, you got a lot of people that are pretty successful that graduate from schools,
Yeah.
and they come in, they really want to see that team win. They're going to move money through it. Okay, here's my $100,000 gift. Now, instead of that thing going to the school and being dispensed down through the athletic program, they use that like a general manager and they go find athletes, right? Now, those athletes can perform, and if they perform at a higher level, now that program's better, more money's coming in, so now we can update our facilities, right? So it works a little bit differently in how, it used to be where you used to donate to your school and you used to go to the athletic department, never to the athletes.
Yeah, yeah.
Now it's a lot of times, I'll use a term like collectives came around, I would say maybe 5 years ago in the space. A collective is essentially like a booster club that you could actually call a booster club at a college now, right? So a collective would try to raise money and earn money from their alumni groups like crazy, on everything. And we were involved heavily because we do a lot of the apparel. We do it for Ole Miss, for Auburn. There's, I could probably think of 25 to 50 of them off the top of my head where if this person donated this much money to the collective, they got a polo with the logo on it, right?
Yeah,
and we were
yeah.
the ones producing that polo and sending it to them. Now, if I did the math and I backed out of it, I'm like, geez, that collective probably raised like $5 million. And all of a sudden you see a new head coach get hired, right? And that new head coach, they use that money to bring that head coach in, right? Or they use that money to bring that 5-star or blue chip prospect in, right? So the NIL thing, and there's going to be far greater experts on it, on how it works at the collegiate level. But in terms of like apparel, what happened, everybody thought that if I have an athlete and I'm able to post up apparel and I can make a logo and I can put it online, I'm gonna make a ton of money now.
Yeah.
This is gonna be great.
Yeah.
We would do that all the time for people, and they'd sell $49 worth of stuff, and I'd look at the order and it was going to their grandparents.
Yeah,
You know what I
of
mean? It
course,
was like
yeah.
the one thing. So that kid need
The 10 people
Was
that their family that's in the stadium with them. Yeah.
And now Is there a 0.5% out there that are actually making real money on the apparel thing? Definitely. Like, no questions asked. Like, if you get a Cooper Flag that's out there when he's coming in, he's going to make money at the apparel thing, at all kinds of stuff, right? Now, is the kid that's going, to a school that like nobody really knows who that person is going to have a huge NIL presence? Probably not. Can they now, though, do an advertisement or do something within the community to make some money? Yes. That's a difference, Val, right? Where that kid might not make hundreds of thousands or get hundreds of thousands from boosters, but they might go down to a local Subway shop and sign some autographs because there's a couple basketball teams down there and get a $100 gift card, right? Or get something. And that's not illegal now, so there's huge benefits there that are helpful to keep people, maybe in a better position to live during their years that they're a collegiate athlete, based on like actually having some money to survive during that time. But there's huge disadvantages to it where you get all this portal stuff and all this money, right? Like Jeremy, we talk about it where, you get a kid that didn't like where he was at, or she was at, now just going, hey, I'm gonna put myself in the portal, and now it's like, hey, who's the highest bidder?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you get these teams like we just saw in the NCAA tournament where, and I'm kind of a Michigan fan a little bit, but their starting 5 roster all were at different schools last year.
All of them.
Yeah.
All of them.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
A wilder situation is like I just was reading through some stuff this morning. Providence College just signed I think it's a point guard. He's in the G League. He's been in the G League for 3 years.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah,
I
he
didn't
went
hear
to the
that.
G
I did
League
not hear that.
when he was 18. Dink Pate, I think that name is. Like, look that up. Like, he been in the G League, was like a top high school prospect. Didn't, isn't, I don't know if it's like he's not panning out to get to the NBA yet.
He was in the G League. He came right from high school and went right to the G League.
So something like that. He's 17 or 18. I don't know if he came from. I don't know how the rules work. Does he have to spend 1 year in college or something like that, or does it? I don't know how it works anymore, Jeremy.
Okay.
But I know that he went from. When they show the graphic from Providence and it shows like his previous team, like committed, like the kids wearing like their back in the day it was like, here was your high school that you're at, and you're committing to wherever, right?
Yeah.
You're committing to Michigan. His logo that he's wearing is the Westchester Knicks.
That's wild.
And now he's going to Providence.
That's wild. I mean, look at Illinois. Illinois had basically their whole starting 5 was all kids that played overseas and played professional overseas. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And that's an Illinois team. That's a team that we like. Our group liked that.
Yeah,
we did. Yeah. That's what hockey's doing the same thing. It's funny. Like we know Nate, who's a friend of ours, who's the coach of PC, and like if you look at some of the teams in that league, there's players that play in the AHL that are now in college. The AHL is like you're a step away from being in the NHL.
NHL, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And now you're going in, you're putting a year or two in at school. So, and not to mention, you're probably 23 years old then too, right? You're like a little bit older. You're more mature. You've still been playing. You're probably in your actual prime, so there's a lot of that happening. And that's the part that I don't necessarily agree with, with the way that this portal situation works and the way that you can just kind of, professionalize amateur sports. But I do think there are also benefits to it too, for sure.
Do you
I agree.
think that because there's the NIL, because there's, college sports are almost professional with the way that they're getting paid. I think that I think the trickery of it, I guess, is that they're in school, so it's not professional. But if we just took the fact that they're getting an education out of it, everything else about it is professional.
It's professional, yeah.
Right?
100%. If you look at those big charts of like, take a Division I school and you pull all the sports and you show the revenue for the sport and you show the cost of the sport, and then you show the totals, it still makes the school a ton of money, even though there's so many sports
that are losing money,
operate in the negative, right?
Yeah. Basically, it's basketball and football. Basically,
basketball, football, and then you'll run into some areas that like is something's hot, like women's basketball will be super popular at a certain school, and that like runs up the list, right? I always see it like baseball up here. You might see 50 people at a game at URI today, right? You might see 100 people at a game at URI. You go down south, you go to the SEC, you can't get in to a 25,000 person stadium at LSU, right? Or Mississippi. Now, when you look at their revenues, though, their revenues might be 10 million. It might cost 9 to operate that program, right? Football might be 150 million and it costs 22 to operate that program. So like there's a big, they have a big surplus of cash, and that's what's kind of funding the whole, the whole athletic department, which that's not new news.
No.
Like that's been a business forever. They just haven't had to pay for the athletes before.
Yeah.
That's the biggest difference now.
Do you think that's why so many people are specializing with their kids younger? Do you think that's why people are specializing, why we're jumping on the club sports? Because people are looking at that pipeline to say, you know what, my kids can make this money. That's why, we're seeing parents, act the way they are, treat refs the way they do. Just some of the craziness that's happened is because parents are looking at this age is more of a return for their investment, for the time and the money that they're putting in on the sidelines for their kids to, go pro or even just get into college and have that scholarship and make income.
Obviously, right? Like everybody has the dream to have their kid go as far as they possibly can in things that they love, right? So if it's piano, like we were talking earlier, hopefully they're in, whatever. I don't know what the professional piano league is, but hopefully you're hopefully you're a Grammy recording artist, right? If it's field hockey, like a couple years ago, a parent said something to Raina that was like, "Do you want to go?" And she was just starting to understand it. Like, oh, there's high school and there's college and then there's the Olympics, like in field hockey. That's like what it is, right? There's not like a pro circuit in the U.S. It's like the Olympics would be your highest achievement probably, right? And somebody was like, oh, do you want to go play at Maine like your mom? And Raina was like, I want to play in the Olympics. Like that was her answer. I loved that answer, by the way. I was like, oh, it's a great answer. I hope she does. Like, I'm going to give her every option to do it, but I also this is like a parent-teacher conference right now, Val. Whenever the parent-teacher conference goes down a path of like showing me math and showing me like English first, I stop them and I'm like, hey, before we do any of this, like, all I really care about is just like, do I have like a good kid here? Is this kid a good human?
Yeah.
Like, if somebody's getting bullied, are they bullying? Are they also helping in the bullying? Or if somebody's getting bullied, is she going to go beat the bully up?
Yeah.
Like, I want to know if I have a good kid before I care if she's good at math.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of the same. It's like, I want them to be, as successful as they can be in the things that they love. And I think you get some parents that are like looking at it a little bit more monetarily, where they're like, hey, I really want to make sure I get a return on this college thing. And like, I want to get them there for free. And I want like all that money that we spent on travel, it's for this, right?
Yeah.
It should be for the fun of it, right? And it should be they built a ton of relationships. They went to school, like maybe they got into school because of it. And now they built great networks for their potential future of jobs and, everything else, right? Like that's what we probably should be focusing on, I think. But I think people get caught up in the lights, where you're like, man, wouldn't that be cool if this kid signed a $140 million contract like Connor Griffin just did? He's 19 years old for the Pirates. No kidding. That'd be awesome. But maybe Connor Griffin like really likes to paint and like he wants to be an artist.
Yeah.
Like who knows?
And happy. You want your kids to be happy.
Yeah.
Happiness is underrated.
Really, I guess the best way to say it, right? Like I probably could have said happy, but like you said it better than me, Val. It's like I just want them to go as far as they can in the things that they like to do, because I got to do that. And like, could I have gone further and longer? I would have loved to have done that, right? But I look back at like my career and I'm like, that made me a ton of connections that I'm super connected with all the time. It puts you in groups of friends like you guys, right? Because like that group came around because look at the people in that group. There's a lot of like pro athlete, Super Bowl champion, Survivor winner, right? Survivor, traders, first loser, right? There's a lot of people in that group, and that's how you get to know those people. That's how you get to know those people. So I just want the same thing for my kids, where it's like, I hope they have like incredible friend groups and they're able to do whatever they want. And sure, some of it tied to them going off and making a bunch of money, sure, but that's not what it's all about.
It's all about happiness.
Hey,
Yes, it's about
yeah,
happiness.
make enough so that you can survive, and then be able to hang around with your friends all the time.
Yeah,
that's what we're all trying to do.
That's it.
Yep. I watched this on 1Ears, and then I forgot to write something down on this. So now I'm like, I can't remember what we're about to do. What's the orange moment?
The orange moment, it's a moment, it's a lesson, and it's a shift. And it's a time where you were challenged possibly as a parent, as a coach, or as an athlete. And in that time, you know, you make decisions and those decisions when you're challenged, right? So every guest, we ask what the orange moment is. And
I've got them.
You've got them, right.
Here's my double orange moment, okay? For me, being released is tricky when it's your profession, right? Like, so like I was released and like that's your job, and then you like get told you aren't good at your job anymore, right? So it's like really, it's like getting fired, right? Like that's a tough one. I'm going to go the other direction on it though. And I'm going to say, for me, I remember being in college and I remember knowing nothing about like the Major League Baseball draft. Right? I remember being like growing up and being like, man, it'd be cool to play for the Red Sox. You know, it'd be cool to play for the Yankees or something like that, right? But I'm like, I don't know how this works. I know nothing about it. And like at that time, like you weren't like researching it. It wasn't huge. And this isn't that long ago, guys. I got drafted in 2005. So like it's in the 2000s, you know? I remember coming back to school after summer. I played baseball for the Sanford Mainers, which is like a travel, it's like a summer league, kind of like the Cape Cod League for baseball. And it's in New England. Came back to school, and I guess I threw harder at that time. Like, I don't know. I'm just trying to get guys out at that age and like make sure I do my homework, like for college, and then probably be like, hey, what are we doing tonight? You know what I mean? Like a regular college kid. Just didn't quite totally understand that you could be a professional athlete. And I remember getting like a stack of mail when I first came back to school from our coach, who was like he was there for 40 something years, Ed Flaherty, like one of my greatest mentors that I've ever had. He's like, hey, this is for you. And it was 25 teams, Major League Baseball teams, that had sent their like, you know, basically like personality tests and like stuff like that all to me. You know, and it was like, he's like, these people think that you can play for them. And he's like, you know, understand that.
Wow.
You know, and I was like, time out. Like, this is my mail. This is like, they sent this to me. How'd they find me? Like, what's going on here? And he's like, when you're good like this, this is what happens. Right. Yeah. So I remember getting that stack and being like, okay, what do I need to do now? Like, how do I get better? How do we get better? And it was just like, from there, I was like, holy shit. Like, you know, sorry, we can beep that if we need to, but I was so worked up about, about the opportunity to do that. And I remember also though, not being nervous about it or panicking because I didn't know that it even could happen. I remember being like, oh, I'm going to take full advantage of this. Yeah. You know, and like try to make the best opportunity that I could. So that was probably my orange moment, like when getting, because I didn't see it coming, you know, and it was like, hey, these people are interested in you. Let's go make it happen. You know, so that was awesome. For me, for the kids, you know, the orange moment is like when they come to you and they say they're not as interested in something anymore. I think is like a total switch for me, right? Where like softball this year came up and it's like the kids didn't want to tell me they didn't want to do the huge travel thing anymore. In my heart though, I was kind of hoping that they didn't want to do the huge travel thing. I wanted them to have more of a summer, you know, and not just because I didn't want to go to 50 tournaments and like travel all over the country. It was just like, I could see that to them felt like work. It was, we went home. This is a perfect example, Jeremy. Like you said, we went home after practice and they wouldn't want to go play catch in the backyard and they wouldn't want to go hit wiffle balls. Yeah. You know what I mean? It was like, oh, I just did that for like an hour and a half, you know? And I was like, okay, they're getting overcooked on this thing, you know? Now, guess what? They're not playing as much anymore. They're going to do probably like rec and like, you know, maybe play in middle school and stuff like when they're on at those ages. Love that. Much rather have that. Guess what they want to do now? They want to go home and they want to play wiffle ball. They want to go home and they want to do stuff. But I remember them coming to me. We were driving home from something. It was just me with the two girls. That's usually a time that I love to have a communication. Like, we're not talking about like, hey, how was practice? We're just talking about like, hey, how's life usually? And they were like, we don't really want to play the whole travel softball thing. I remember them being super nervous about it, like very worked up about it to me. And I was like, guys, thank you for being like super honest about this, because now I can go say, hey, we don't want to play 90 games or 70 games or 60 games. We want to go play 20, and then we want to play lacrosse at the same time.
Yeah.
And we want to like go to this field hockey tournament that we haven't been able to go to before, right? Like, so that orange moment for me with the kids was them saying no for the first time to something that they think that I love, which I do. Like, I think that it's great when they hit a double in the gap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for them,
that's
that
a big
was
moment
like,
for them.
That was a good no.
Yeah. Because they're disappointing you, basically.
Exactly.
Well, they think
that's what it was. It was,
you.
they were so, they probably wanted to tell me that for like 3 months too.
Oh, wow.
You know, and eventually they were like, hey, you know, enough's enough on this. Like, we like this sport. We're probably not going to put down our glove and our bat, but we don't want to play this 5 days a week, you know, and play 90 games
all the time. Yeah. I wanted to ask you, the car ride home, as a parent, you know, a lot of times these kids are looking at the car ride home and thinking, oh, now I'm going to get yelled at and I didn't play well and stuff. And it's always a dreaded moment for these kids. Yeah. How's your car ride home with your
You know, the actor Jeff Daniels, he was like Dumb and Dumber, you know, Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels, like he's got a quote about this with his kids where the 2-hour drive to like the rink and back was never intended to be ever about hockey. Like, he never would talk about what it was. It was like just a time to be together with your kid. And I agree with that. We do talk about what just happened. I'm usually super positive about it though. And my kids are still at an age where they're like 9 and 12. So I'm not coming down on them about being like, you should have busted up the wing more on the left side. Like, it's not like what I'm like talking about, you know? So like, just tell her that she played great. You know, and then like let her tell me if she thinks something, you know. So I'm still in that game right now where it's like, hey, you played great. Like, how'd you feel? You know, and she might be like, can we get ice cream? You know, and I'm like, yeah, let's go get ice cream. You know, I'm not going to turn down ice cream, Jeremy. I'm going ice cream.
How are you and Tracy on that? Are you on the same, like, with the kids, with the scheduling, with the plan with them for like sports? Because I like have said, and you know, before, Jeremy and I are like on the same page with our kids and our well-being and stuff, but we definitely had a challenging time as far as scheduling goes, because we had the 2 toddlers. We had one as a junior and then one that was in 8th grade. So one that was like, I'm playing in college and going through recruiting, which I think was unique. And one that was going into high school saying, I want to play in college. And then we had, and then we're changing diapers under bleachers at the games that, you know, so we were at multiple tournaments, multiple ID clinics, put in so much stuff that we were, I mean, I will probably say that was one of the most challenging times with all 4 of them, because they were at such different phases. 2 of them were at like more of a definitive time when they were making decisions. And it was important for us to find avenues for them to, you know, pursue that. Right. And there's a little bit more of a tighter timeline for that. At the same time, when I'm literally changing diapers, how do you guys do that as far as the balance in making sure, hey, like, we're balancing the well-being? It seems like the girls, you know, they told you about the softball, but like, have you ever find, because I think a lot of parents, you don't realize you're like in the trenches. Like at times when I'm like, we are in the trenches. Like, I'm tip. I just bought.
If I could add on to this, you keep going,
I just bought a what's it called? Basically, like, it's like a portable crock pot. Because I'm like, we have so many sports from like back to back that like, I'm like, they can't eat Chick-fil-A every day. They can't eat just like crazy, fast food. I'm like, I gotta at least have some pasta and meatballs ready to go. I mean, not that I want them to eat that in my car, but it is what it is. It's probably gonna be goldfish stuck somewhere for like.
You're going somewhere all the time. It's like super tough to do, right? So I look at it. I always use the term like Tracy and I. We have 2 girls, right? And we've got 2 of us. We're playing man to man all the time. You know, so like, it's okay.
Yeah.
We're not in, you guys are playing zone for your whole career, basically, right? Like you're being up your zone. You're like just making sure the other team's on the power play all the time against you guys, right? Tracy and I are man to man. We've got Raina, we've got Ellie. I can go if Raina had a softball tournament and Ellie had something, like, we can separate, we can go, we can move and shake. And that's kind of how we always, operated. And then ideally, like if Ellie was a little bit older, Raina was a little bit younger, they'd be in the same thing, most likely, right? But I'm just separated enough where, like, Ellie's turning 10, but she'll play 12U field hockey. It's weird. Field hockey's a little bit strange, like with the ages, you play up a little bit. And then Raina's 12, and she'll play 14U. So they're going to be on different teams. So we're going to be playing man-to-man still. It's going to be, hey, they're here, they're here. Which
is good. I think that's really good, actually. It separates them.
Exactly. At least we're not missing.
I think that's really good.
At least it's not like we got a third and like nobody's there to go watch like them play, So like we're playing man-to-man. We're in the same camp of we want them to participate. We want them to be in motion all the time, right? Like we're in the no device mode. Like we're still in no cell phone mode, by the way, for Raina. She's in 6th grade. She's 12. I think she's the only one in her class for the last couple of years without one. And we're like trying to get there.
Wow.
Remember, Tracy's a counselor too. So like she's a counselor at a school that the kids are at. Like, so she counsels kids, and parents all day. So like she's in that mindset. So if she sees me coming down a little bit hard, she'll snap at me a little bit. I'm like, hey, leave me alone. Now, when we both get together without the kids, that's when we let it out. That's when we're like, Raina's gonna take that ball.
Yes.
She's never within earshot of that though. But like that's when like the car ride home. Like if they went home with the Copins or something, and the girls did to go play at their house, and Trey are driving home together, and like we're like, what the hell? What was she thinking right there? That's when like
so real. That's so real.
I think that's actually probably healthy. Like at least because we let it out there, and then if we want to talk to her about it, like then we'd be much more calm because we've already blown off the steam on the thing, right?
Yeah.
Usually the steam is right after it happens. So like, when is that? That's the car ride.
Yeah.
Right. Or that's at the tournament when it's between games, and you see this happen all the time. Like at a softball field, it's one of the reasons I didn't love that overall environment. You got parents screaming at their kids in the parking lot, the kids crying, the mom or the dad is about ready to get yelled at by the cops because people think that there's going to be a fight going on. It's like, what's going on over here? You know what I mean? That's when people are hot, right when it's over. And for me, if we try to hold that in, have a good car, and then Tracy and I, when we're together, we're like, man, Ellie's getting fast, or whatever. It's it's positive stuff too. It's not it's not the negatives. It's positive stuff. We're we probably gotta have her do this, right? Or I probably gotta get her a good stick now. It's what I right now. She's using wooden sticks, banging them down, breaking them. I'm like, okay, we probably gotta get her a good stick now. Which that's another whole thing. The money that people spend on equipment is outrageous, right? And I'm in that world. I'm in the apparel side, but I know that Raina's walking around with a $1,200 worth of sticks in her bag right now, and I'm like, ugh, it's a lot going on there.
Yeah. I have a dent in my car from avoiding a lacrosse stick. You know what I mean? Back in the day, because I'm just you spend so much money on them. You're like, oh, that's in the driveway, that's behind the car. It looks like I'm gonna hit this, so I don't hit the lacrosse stick that I saw at the last minute.
That's right. That's how it works.
Yeah, a lot of dings
I don't mind those.
door.
Those are the scars that you want to see. You want to see the scars on the house. I love seeing. That's why I put the turf in the basement. The turf in the basement. I told the girls this is the only rule down there. It's one whole half side that's all turf, and there's a wall, and I've reinforced the wall because they just blow balls through it, right? It's got 4 levels of plywood on it now. I don't care what you do down here. If you break anything, you just have to tell me. Don't try to hide it. Just tell me so that I can fix it. Because the burners down there, all the equipment, all the instruments for the house, it's all in a different spot. But it's just tell me about it so that I know. That's all I ask. And then don't kill each other too. Don't go crazy.
Yeah. Can you have that conversation with our kids? Because my sons will break something and hide.
Well, you got boys. That's a problem.
All the time.
I don't know how to do the boy
more
thing. If I had boys, or if I ever have them, who knows? What? But I'll come back on the podcast in however many years that is, and I'll tell you, hey, everything I said, I was way wrong.
Well, okay, this is good. Listen, again, Tip, anything that you have you want to I don't know, say anything else?
No, with
anything you're-
you know, you guys
What'd you
have something good going here. There's people that need to, hear from parents because they're wondering what to do. Their kids are starting to get to the age where it's like, hey, I'm signing them up for softball today. I'm signing them up for Little League. I'm signing them up for lacrosse. I'm signing up for field hockey. Well, guess what's coming?
Yeah.
A lot. If you start putting them in it, a lot more is going to come out to you over the course of time. Here's the other thing, though. It only lasts for like you said, Val. You hopefully it lasts as long as you could. And you've been doing it for a while because your kids are spread out over time, right? I'm looking at it like Raina's in 6th grade, Ellie's in 4th grade. I've got 6 more years of sports until she's out of high school.
Yeah.
6 years. That's it. And then hopefully
Yeah.
she's playing college and doing whatever. Like
Yeah.
that's what's happening. So maybe you buy a few more. But when you look at 6 years, like COVID was 6 years ago.
No.
It's not a long time.
That seems like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
not a
Like,
long time. You're gonna miss
in
it.
6 years, their
Yeah.
Raina's going to
Yeah.
be graduating.
Yeah.
Like that's so like there's not a lot of time. So like you plug them into as much as you can and do the trips, and then if you're going to buy uniforms, take a look at SquadLocker. You like
I love that.
Yeah, that's how we do it. Yeah.
that.
If you
That's
need
what
the
I was waiting
uniforms of the
for.
apparel, we try to make it easy for you. So that way you can be a parent and not have to spend all the time doing all the uniforms and bringing in the money and doing the stuff. You just order it online, right?
Yes. We love it.
Well, thanks for coming on with us,
Yeah.
Tip. We really appreciate it. I thought you were a wealth of knowledge, and it was fun and lively, and it was very knowledgeable. man. I
We'll line
appreciate
you up with a
coming
bunch more, and we'll talk with you guys soon.
on. That's right. That's
Thank you.
right.
See you guys. All right, later. See ya.
Thanks for getting locked in with MicdinPod.
Thanks for being locked in with MicdinPod.